Hello. Thank you for tuning in today to this audio podcast. And I decided to do audios instead of videos because it just saves a lot of time for me and for the way I want to document my eBay journey. And so if you're tuning in today, then this audio is about my eBay journey. I am an eBay reseller, which means that I go to thrift stores and garage sales and anywhere else to find good deals and to take those deals and resell them on eBay for a profit. And so this is my journey into making a full-time business from something that began as a hobby. And so I just want to welcome you and thank you for tuning in today. So one of the first updates that I wanted to talk about was that this past weekend, I went to an eBay meetup. And what an eBay meetup is meeting other eBay sellers that do the same thing I do. And so this past week, Rally Roots, who are known for their YouTube channel about eBay reselling, came to the Austin area. And so I drove up from San Antonio to meet them. And I'm so happy I did. By nature, I am an introvert. And so going out to a function like this is not something that I would normally do. But I met Ryan and Allie Roots, and what a fantastic couple. It was great to meet them in person, and it was worth the hour drive to get up to where they were in North Austin. I also met some other resellers. I met the Bonafide Hustler, Chris, and his brother Emerson, who also have a YouTube channel, and just quality people who know a lot about the eBay reselling business. And so if you're listening to this and you do not know who they are, I would recommend that you go online and see their channels. Rally Roots and the Bonafide Hustler have great reselling videos online. And I also met Deborah, whose YouTube channel is Pinching Pesos. And I don't know, just great people. It was a great time of just getting to know other resellers and throwing ideas back and forth and just talking about eBay. I love talking about the eBay business. And so if you ever have the opportunity to go and meet other resellers, then I would highly recommend to make the effort. Another update for this week is that I said it in a previous podcast that I had to go and find some part-time work. And I'm also applying for full-time positions. My degree is in marketing. And so I'm applying for some jobs. And I know previously that I said I wanted to try to do this full-time right away. You know, I was trying to get out of working. But some circumstances happened in my life where I need to have a little bit more cash flow coming in. And so one of the ways I decided to do this was to try delivering for restaurants. And so I signed up with DoorDash. And what that is going to restaurants when they have orders and taking the food to people at their houses. And I'm average I've tried it for 5 days, and I average about $13 to $15 an hour doing this, and that's during peak times, like during lunch and dinner. And so I wanted to give this a try to see how it goes, because there is some downtime, and during the downtime I can work on my eBay stuff. During some of the downtime, I've been into thrift stores while waiting for an order to come in. And so the way that these businesses work, and there's a couple of other ones like Uber Eats and I believe, Postmark maybe is what it's called. I haven't met anyone in person as I signed up for this DoorDash job, and so it's all online here in the San Antonio area, and it's in different cities, and so I guess you just have to look up delivery services in different cities, and you apply online, you submit your car info, and so far it's been pretty good. They keep me pretty busy dropping deliveries off, so there's not as much downtime as I thought there would be, but it's a great way just to make a little extra income for yourself. When you drive for these companies, you are an independent contractor, so you have to keep track of all your records and make sure that you're putting money aside for taxes later on. And of course, just like my eBay business, the driving to jobs and to work and for sourcing, your mileage is tax deductible. And so far it's been a pretty good part-time income. And so again, I've only tried it for a few days. I'm going to try it for a few more extra days and see how it goes. But I just wanted to give a quick update that I am looking for part-time work and possibly full-time work while I'm trying to build up my eBay business. The next update for this week is that I did have an interview with a new employee, and I just want to say that if you're doing the eBay business and you want to grow it and you want to scale it, I would recommend looking into finding employees to do the work that tends to be a bottleneck for you. I'll give you an example. I love thrifting. I love going shopping for clothes and items to resell on eBay, but I don't like listing so much and photography. I don't mind doing it, but it's not my favorite thing to do. And so for me, the bottleneck in my business, what's keeping me from growing, is listing. And so I went and interviewed an employee. I put on Craigslist that I had a job opportunity where you could possibly work from home once you're trained. And I had someone who already sells on eBay contact me. And this person wanted to set up an interview. And so we met at a Starbucks. And after looking at her profile, her resume, she has eBay reselling experience. Now, she only sells brand new stuff. She's a wholesaler, but she wanted to make a little extra money working on the side. And so I'm going to hire her as contract labor. And so I know there's a lot of hesitancy about hiring employees. And I guess rightly so. It seems like it's something that's pretty daunting. It might be a little bit scary to venture into, but I think it's something that eBay sellers who want to grow should look into. My plan for her is that I'm going to give her a tote of 20 items. Right now I'm storing up about 20 pairs of shoes for her to list, and I'm going to take that tote to her beginning later next week, and she's going to take that tote, photograph, and list the items on eBay as drafts. I will then, once I get those items back in my possession, give her another tote of 20 items, and we're just going to do this. We're going to just trade off totes week after week, and so every week I should have 20 items coming in. Now, I would give her more if I had more inventory that I've found, so I could always up that. And I'm paying her $3 per listed draft, which is a pretty good deal. We're going to give that a try for a couple of weeks, see how she feels about it, and I'll keep you updated about how this new employee is going. But that won't start later till next week. This weekend I am headed back to Canada to see my family up there, and that'll be just for a quick 4-day trip, and I hope to do some sourcing while I'm up there. So my recommendation to you is don't be afraid to try to hire employees to do the work that seems difficult, that's roadblocking your growth. Like all the things that we do on eBay, it's a learning process, and I'm going to learn how to hire employees. The next thing that I need to give an update on is that I paid my taxes this week, and this week I was also listening to the Scavenger Life podcast, and they had a tax professional on there, and they talked about how new eBay sellers that start going into the eBay business get shocked. And I have to say that I was shocked by the amount of taxes that I had to pay. And remember that so far I've only been doing this part-time. And so I had to pay about $1,400 in taxes to the IRS. And so this was new ground for me, and it was quite a shock. I didn't think it was going to be that high. I thought it was going to be about $400 to $500, but apparently I made more money in my eBay business than I had thought. And so taxes is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because if you pay taxes and you owe tax money, then it means that you're selling stuff and you're making money. But if you're not ready for it, then it can be quite a shock to get that IRS bill. And so once you've been through the eBay business for a year, what the accountants can do is send you vouchers or envelopes to send into the IRS quarterly. And so my accountant set up vouchers. I have 3 more vouchers to pay for the rest of the year, and this goes to self-employment tax and the IRS for income taxes, and it's spread out to pay $500 every quarter. And so at the end of the year, it's not such a big shock. But hopefully this year I'll have a lot more tax write-offs and exemptions and what do you call them? Deductions to make my taxes, or the money I have to pay taxes on, a little bit lower. And so that's one thing that I would recommend if you're a new eBay seller or contract labor, is to make sure you're setting aside money for taxable income. That way you're able to pay those taxes at the end of the year. My accountant recommends that I set aside 27% of my income or my profit for taxes. And so that's something I'm going to start doing. As the money comes in, I'm going to start setting aside 27% and make sure that money's available to pay taxes at the end of the year. Let me know your thoughts. What was your experiences paying income taxes? Okay, so these are my numbers from the past week. And I have right now 353 items listed in my store. And so remember that I'm trying to grow my inventory. My goal for the end of April is 500. And this number 353 is up from 345 last week. And I was hoping to be closer to 400 listings by now, but there's a couple of factors that are keeping me from building my inventory. And the first is that things are just selling. And when things are selling, then it makes it a little bit more difficult to build your inventory. So that's good news. The other thing is that I need my listers to list a little bit more quickly. I've kind of delegated the listing duties to my brother who works for me, and he's on and off at times, which is okay. But at the same time, I need his help to grow the store.
And so there's two factors there. I ask him to reach a quota of 10 items listed a day, and it probably should be higher, but I need to make sure I have items for him to list. And so there's two aspects to that. One, making sure that I'm getting enough inventory, and two, making sure that he's working the 10 items a day that I need him to do. And so it's growing slowly, and what I'm going to have to do is in the near future, probably when I get around 500 listings, is that I will have to look at other ways to get inventory. And some of those ways might be advertising, online thrift store, and trying to get people to donate. And the other way is probably through consignment. I'll probably start doing some high-end consignment and go from there. And so, but that's going to take quite a bit of work because you have to build a clientele. And so we're going to probably start investigating what that would look like pretty soon. And so in all, I sold 27 items. That's about the same as the week before. I think I sold 26 the week before. Total sales were $1,329. Net profit was $731, up $150 from the previous week. And so after all the complaining and discouragement from last week, the week actually ended pretty strong, mainly because of one item that I sold. Now, I did a little garage sale haul update on this item, and I put it on auction. And so I learned a couple of things about this item. First, what I sold was a set of 30 Maxell XL2-S 90-minute audio cassette tapes that were blank. This is blank media, made in Japan. And so there was a lot of 30 of them that were these tapes, cassette tapes from the 80s, were still sealed in the wrapper. And they're in a leather bound case. And I was at a garage sale. So the first lesson I learned about this was do not underestimate garage sales. If I was doing drive-bys on garage sales, meaning looking at the garage sale to see if I want to stop, I would have missed this completely. Because at this garage sale, it was an older couple, and it was just a few tables covered in sheets and blankets. And I decided just to hop out of the car real quick and run down to see what they had. And about the only thing of value were these cassettes. Now, I didn't know about these cassettes before I went to the garage sale. I was there, I saw them, and he wanted $35 for this item. And I started walking away, and I was checking my phone because I've heard that you need to check blank media. This is why it's important to do your research. And so I was looking these tapes up. I found them online. I saw that 10 of them sold for $100. And here was a case of 30. So I went back immediately, back down the driveway, picked it up, and I asked the person that was there if they would take less. And I ended up getting the whole batch for $30. And so I was thinking about doing a buy it now based on the sold comps of $300. But instead I decided to do an auction. And so this is, I think, one situation where an auction paid off. I did a week auction, and the tapes ended up selling for $397. And that's almost $100 more than I was asking for on Buy It Now. And so the lesson learned is, one, don't underestimate garage sales. You can always maybe find something that other people aren't looking for. But two is, if you do not know the value of something that's rare, maybe try an auction. I got $100 more than I was going to ask for. And in fact, I started the auction at $250. I had to buy it now originally for $300, or something around there, $300, $310. And it ended up selling for $397. And so sometimes auctions are just a really good deal. And this item went to Russia, and so I was a little bit scared. I was like, oh man, I have this big sale, and now it's going to Russia, but it's going through the global shipping program. I put insurance on the item to Kentucky, and from there, it's all in eBay's global shipping program, right? It's all in their hands. And so I'm trusting everything will go well with this. These are awesome tapes, sealed in the box. Anyway, that was the big item that sold this past week that really bumped my sales. And so what I'm learning about eBay and trying to record and keep track of your sales records is that it's not as cut and dry as seeing like an increase in sales. Like I have bread and butter items that sell for $15 to $20 at a time, but every so often you have these bigger chunks. Like I have probably 20, 30 items that I have listed for $100, and that's where you make money. The other lesson I'm learning right now is that my biggest profit margin are items I find at garage sales. These are items that I just don't find in the thrift stores. Maybe because thrift stores have a lot of traffic walking through them, but at garage sales, I'm just finding better items. And so that's just a quick update on my numbers. That's all I have for this week in this week's update. I'm sorry that the update was a little bit behind. I'm switching formats, like I said, from video to audio. It's just going to be quicker for me to edit. And, you know, there's a lot of great content already on YouTube and on the video platforms, and not so many on the audio platforms. I post these audios on Anchor, and so it goes to Apple, iTunes, and other audio platforms. I want to say thank you for listening and tuning in. I welcome any comments, any feedback I can get. You can email me at dacasource@gmail.com, dacasource@gmail.com. And if you would like, you can even drop me a phone message. My phone number is 512-539-0116. Would love to hear from you and get your feedback. Feel free to leave a message. Thanks for tuning in. And if you're on a platform where you can like and subscribe, please do so. I'm trying to build my channel, and thanks for joining me on this journey.